Okay, good day class and welcome. So this is the second session of our engineering economics. So today we're going to discuss simple interest, cash flow diagrams, and compound interest. So on the previous topics we have discussed engineering economy, its description and role, and yung mga study approaches on engineering economy. In fact, we have learned how to apply in our decision making yung 7 principle ng engineering economy. And on the engineering economy decision process and estimate, we have an essential element like cash flow, the time occurrence, the measure of economic worth, and the interest rate for the time value of money. So today we're going to appreciate the interest rate for the time value of money. Okay. So for our learning objectives, at the end of the session, you will be able to first you need to familiarize yourself with the formulas, So we will memorize formulas involving simple and compound interest. And then secondly, we need to construct the cash flow diagram as a basis of our solutions to every problem. Okay? So that is very important. So without the illustration, we cannot deal or we cannot derive the solution. Okay? The number 3, solve problems involving interest, inflation, and discount. So let me start with defining interest. So this is the amount of money paid for the use of borrowed capital. Of course, when you lend your money, hindi naman pwedeng walang income on your investment or when you lend your money. So the interest should be on top of the inflation rate. Baka mamaya yung inflation rate lang ang kino-consider mo, because take note that the purchasing of money fluctuates from time to time. So the interest is also income produced by the money which have been loaned. Okay? So the simple interest is calculated using the principal only. Ignored yung interest which have been accumulated in preceding periods. So meaning, the basis for the computation is the present value or the principal. Okay? So the formula is I is equal to P N I, wherein P is the principal, N is the number of interest period, which is equal to the number of days divided by interest period. So if there will be an interest, of course, the future work will be the sum of the principal plus the interest. So meaning the principal nanganak ng interest. So saan galing yung computation? The principal itself. So that if you're going to substitute the formula of interest, we can factor out the present worth and come up with that factor 1 plus I n. I in here is the rate of interest, and F is the future worth. So simple interest could be ordinary simple interest. This is computed on the basis of 12 months per year. So meaning lahat ng months would have 30 days. Okay? So that for 12 months, 12 times 30, that is 360 days. So sa ordinary, yan yung interest period. So unlike for the exact simple interest, so on the problems on exact simple interest, naka-specify yung dates and the year, because under this we need to consider the leap year and the exact dates, the exact counts of the dates, and then consider that the interest period is either 365 days or 366 days for leap year. Okay, so that is the interest period for exact and ordinary simple interest. So I'll just flash here the years ng leap year, ano? So as we can see here, 2020 was a leap year. Susunod sa 2020, 2024, 28, 32, 36, etc. So it's nice also to take note of this, because if we have an exact simple interest, if we need to treat that as exact, or the exact simple interest, we need to take note of this years, no, flash on the slides. Now, to solve for problems on any engineering economy, we need to establish the cash flow diagram, as we have said. So this is actually synonymous to that of the free body diagram in your mechanics. So remember your free body diagram. From the whole system, you need to isolate the elements, and then label the forces, and derive your solution out of that. Similarly, we can do graphical representation of the cash flow. Cash flow lang naman, either yung flow is outflow or inflow. So it is drawn on a time scale, meaning may mga number of years, as we have said nga, in essence of the time value of money. So it is essential that we represent the graphical illustration of the time and the cash flows on the cash flow diagram. So the cash flow could either be cash outflow or what we call disbursement, that will be represented by a downward arrow, or a cash inflow or receipt, that will be represented by an upward arrow. Okay, so let us move on to example. So a loan of 100 pesos at simple interest of 10% will become 150 pesos after 5 years. So simple lang naman. There are two perspectives here. First, we have on the view of the lender, yung nagpautang. So of course, we need to draw a timeline. So that will be 5 years, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 here represents the present time. And of course, we need to reflect the interest rate, where I is equal to 10%. So when you are the lender, of course, at this time, you need to release the money. Okay, 100 pesos for the present work, for the principal. And after 5 years, you'll receive the payment from the borrower. And that will be denoted as F, or the future work, denoted by an upward, okay, upward arrow. So upward arrow meaning you receive the payment, and downward arrow meaning you release the payment. So that is on the view of the lender. So we can also illustrate the perspective of the borrower, just the same. We have the timelines, the rate, and of course, maganda pag umutang ka sa present time. Kaya lang, after 5 years, you need to pay also. Okay. So let us have examples on simple interest problems. So determine the ordinary simple interest on 700 pesos. for 8 months and 15 days if the rate of interest is 15%. So as a matter of solution, we are going to use this. I is equal to PNI. The principal is 700 pesos. We need to take note the number of days. The 8 months should be multiplied by 30. So it is assumed that every month has 30 because this is ordinary simple interest. Ordinary kasi there's no specified date and year. So we assume that every month is 30. So that the number of interest period will be ordinary interest period, which consists of 12 times 30, that is 360 days. So with that, we will just simply substitute the principal, 700 pesos, the number of interest period N, 255 or all over 360, times the interest rate of 0.15 or 15%. So that would amount to 74.38. If we are interested in the future worth, we'll just have to add that interest to the principal or the present worth value. So to come up with 774.38 pesos. Okay. So moving on to the second problem. This time we will treat this as exact simple interest because it is already specified. At the same time, naka-specify na rin yung date at year. So interestingly, this is a leap year, ano? So just the same solution, no? Ang gagawin lang natin dito is to determine the exact number of days at that range, January 10 to October 28 to 1996, no? So 500 pesos yung principal natin, number of days, ito, count natin. January 10 to 31, that is 22 days. So we include 10 days, ano? Kasi 31 minus 10, supposedly that is 21. But we are including here in our count yung mismong date ng unang date or January 10. Or the first, we're gonna count the first date specified in the problem. February, 29 days, considering that this year is a leap year. And March is 31, April 30, May 31, June is 30 days, July and August is 31 days, September is 30 days, October supposedly 28 yan, but minus 1 tayo to exclude October 28. So this is to compensate also yung yung in-include mo kanina na January 10. So that is how to do it. Actually, you can also interchange that one. Kung gusto mo, wag mo munang i-include sa sa first date and then include mo doon sa last date. Okay, so either way. So at any rate, we have arrived with 292 days. So we just divide that with the interest period of 366 days to come up with the number of interest periods. So with the continuation of the solution, we'll just have to substitute the principal, the number of interest rate, and the interest rate itself to come up with 63.83 pesos. So again, if you are concerned with the future worth, we'll just have to add it to the present value or the principal of 500. So we'll arrive at 563.83 pesos. Okay, moving on to the next problem. So here, what will be the future worth of money after 14 months if a sum of 10,000 is invested today at a simple interest rate of 12%? So be careful in determining the present worth and the future worth. So in here, it is obvious that 10,000 here is the present worth kasi invested today. And to the fact that the future worth is unknown, yun, that those were our basis in determination of the future and the present work. Unknown here is actually the future work. So the present work is 10,000. We derive n. So it is assumed that this is ordinary since wala namang exact date na binigay. So 14 months times 30 all over 360 with an I of 12%. Okay, so we'll just have to use this one. The future work is equal to the principal times 1 plus IN. Okay. Substitute mo lang. And we will be having 11,400 pesos for that. Okay, so moving on. So this time, what would be the present work and what would be the future work? So how would you treat 265? So it is obvious na sinabi na dito yung 265 pesos is actually the earnings, no? When we say earnings, alam naman natin that is the earnings from the work of money invested, or that refers to interest. Okay, so it was earned in 4 months. So 4 months is a duration, no? So days yan times 30 lang, or months yan times 30, and then the investment here is 15,000. So when we say investment, that is referring to the present work, right? So just the same, we're gonna use this one. I is equal to PNI. So the interest is 265 pesos. The principal is 15,000. The number of interest rates, that one. So this is again ordinary simple interest, wherein the 4 months is multiplied by 30 divided by 360. Okay, so with that, so I think we should consider this is 265, the principal is 15,000. Okay, ito dapat is N. So 265 times 15,000 times 4 times 30 all over 360. So that will be our divisor for 265. So we'll come up with 5.3%. Okay, so that will be 5.3%. Okay, so let's go back to our slideshow. So that would yield to 5.3%, solving for I. So next problem. So a loan of 2,000 pesos is made for a period of 13 months from January 1 to 31 the following year. At a simple interest rate of 20%, what future amount is due at the end of the loan period? So this problem is quite tricky because naglagay siya ng date, ano? Pero hindi siya naglagay ng year. Sabi niya lang the following year. Ngayon 13 months yun. Kasi sumobra ng 30 days from January 1 last year. Okay, so this assume that this is, again, this is a ordinary simple interest because it does not mention about the date. Okay, so we treat this as ordinary simple interest. So I is equal to PNI, F is equal to principal plus I. The principal is 2,000 pesos. In 13 months, we'll just have to multiply 30 days per month all over 360. I is 0.2. So we just substitute that one for the interest. and then we come up with that value, 433.33. So if you're interested in future work, i-add mo lang yung principal. That will be the future work. Okay, so another problem. If you borrow money from your friend with a simple interest of 12%, find the present worth of 20,000 which is due at the end of 9 months. So obviously, ang unknown dito is the present worth. Kasi nga, find the present worth. So ano yun yung 20,000? It is actually the future worth. So, the present worth is unknown. Future worth is 20,000. And this is ordinary kasi wala namang date. I is equal to 12%. Okay, same procedure. So we'll come up with the value of P. So divide both sides by 1.09. So we'll come up with 18,348.62 pesos. Okay, so another problem. So this is a problem on exact simple interest. So exact simple interest on 5,000 pesos for the period from January 15 to November 28, 1992 at 22% interest. Again, ganun pa rin yung formula. Ang gagawin lang natin is to first count the exact number of days from that range, January 15 to November 28, 1992. So interestingly, 1992 is a leap year, no? So January 15 to 31 supposedly is 16. Again, we include January 15. Then February 29 days, leap year yan. March is 31 days, April 30 days, May 31 days, June 30 days, July and August, again 31 yan. September 30, October 31 days, November 27 days, because again we exclude November 28, that would total to 318 days. With that, we can now derive the interest period N is equal to number of days all over interest period. So exact should have 366 days because this is a leap year. 1992 is a leap year. Okay, so just have to continue out with our solution. Just substitute that one, 5,000 times 318 all over 366 times 22%. So we'll have a value of 95.74 pesos. So I think that ends our session for today. So my advice is for you to, of course, practice with the problems on a simple interest so that you will be ready for the next meeting for your exercises. So we'll give sheet work for you and to include also discussions on the first session. So with this, thank you and good day to all.